Now, this next story is a bit of departure for Australia-wide. It comes to us from the New South Wales South Coast. Our reporter, Ruby Mitchell, has been investigating why girls as young as 13 are being sent unsolicited photos over social media. And just as a warning, this story does contain strong language and the content is very adult in nature. So if you have kids in the car, you might want to switch the radio off.
I think I was about 15 or 16, and it popped up in my messages, and I clicked on it, and it was no introduction, no message, just a dick pic.
This random guy messaged me on Snapchat, and then he just, out of the blue, just sent me a photo of his penis.
I've been sent about 5 to 6 of the unsolicited pictures.
I was so overwhelmed and so freaked out. I didn't even look at who sent it to me. I deleted it within 3 seconds.
It does feel like harassment because I did not ask to see that.
And the next message I got was why the didn't you reply to that? And I was like, because I didn't ask for it. And he was like, yeah, but you were talking to me.
And then I think I mentioned it to my sister and she's like, oh, yeah, that happens. And I just kind of brushed it off then.
This is a group of high school girls from the south coast of New South Wales. I spoke to them down by the river that runs through a property just 10 minutes from the beach in my small hometown of Maruya. After a conversation with my little sister and her girlfriends about growing up on the coast today, I quickly became aware that all of these kids had received at least one unrequested dick pic at one point during their time in high school, and that some of them were as young as 13. In fact, it seemed as though the practice has almost become a normal part of growing up with a smartphone, and the girls are fed up. With the popularity of social media apps today, like Instagram and Snapchat, is it time we think more about sex and social media? High school student Ruby DeRover believes that this kind of online harassment is reminiscent of the toxic masculinity captured so well in Puberty Blues, and it's much more common than we might think.
The other day in class, it ended up being part of our discussion that a girl had been sent nude photos by a guy in a serious relationship. And it was kind of just laughed off, and our teacher just stopped us for a second and she just said, did I just hear what I thought I heard? Is that a common thing? And we looked around the class and we eventually came to the conclusion that every single girl in that class at one point or another has been sent a dick pic, has been asked for nudes, and has had an interaction of that kind with another guy. And I find that so scary. And it's just, it's to a point where it's just normal and it's just, part of what happens. And I reckon I'd kind of venture to say that pretty much every girl in our school, probably, you could go from year 9 onwards, would have had an interaction of that kind. And I think that's the problem. When it becomes so normalised, it becomes almost funny.
According to Natasha Gillizo, an online sex educator and feminist writer, young women are conditioned to think that sexual harassment is okay.
What I hear a lot is this kind of teenagers having to normalise this experience. So in our kind of culture, female discomfort or female nervousness around this is normalised. It's just something they have to swallow and accept, just to get by, basically. I don't think that's what it should be. I think that anything sexual requires consent.
Consent was one of those points that we kept coming back to. The high school girls felt strongly that the sharing of nudes isn't inherently wrong. It's the lack of respect and the expectation that girls will respond that's the problem. When she was 15, Pearl Mitchell received an unwanted nude from a local boy over Snapchat. She was taken aback, but was even more surprised by his aggressive response when she refused to send one back to him.
I just think that he had a sense of entitlement because I was talking to him and that somehow that led to him thinking that I was interested in it. But I think he was expecting me to send photos back to him from that experience. Or to just reply with something that's oh yeah, nice type of thing. But obviously I ignored him and then calling me a s*** and a bitch and stuff because even if I was talking to you sexually or was saying anything that was overtly flirtatious, it doesn't entitle you to send a random photo out of the blue. And that's the whole culture of also consent too. I think that's a big issue. He didn't ever say that he was going to send one. And even if it is a thing, you could just ask. Why do they feel the need to? It's just so unnecessary.
So why are they doing it?
Hello, is this Brogan?
Yeah.
Hi, it's Ruby here.
I spoke to a few boys from the same high school who feel that guys are all so pressured to act and behave in a certain way. Brogan hasn't sent an unsolicited dick pic himself, but has grown up surrounded by a culture of bro-duty mateship.
Yeah, it's kind of one of them bro things that all the boys do that, like getting the fast cars and all that sort of thing, where it's just like, if you're sending nudes to girls or whatever, then you must be getting a lot to girls, that sort of thing. Like just today at the athletics carnival, I heard some person say, look at that girl's ass, that's what it is. No one really ever says anything like, that's not cool or whatever. It's always pretty standard just to laugh about it because, really, you're going to get yourself in trouble if you're saying that's not cool. And you got pretty much every other guy in the school saying, who gives a shit, it's what we do. I guess it's a boys will be boys thing. I hate it, but I don't know what you can do about it.
Similarly, 17-year-old Jackson says that sex and girl talk have always been a hot topic for boys in high school. And a lot of it is about asserting their manhood or finding their place.
You get the impression that it's them trying to validate themselves in some way, I guess, and it's more about them trying to prove themselves to the group as opposed to actually knowing anything, if that makes sense.
Having worked with a number of adolescents, sex educator Natasha also has some theories about the pressure that is placed on boys in high school.
There can be this social capital that is gained from being one of the boys and doing the most outrageous thing, So a lot of it, I think, is some kind of male bonding in Australian culture and society revolves around this kind of one-upmanship, doing wild antics things. So I think they're thinking about themselves and how other boys see them more than they're thinking about the women or the teenagers they're potentially trying to connect with. So we kind of want to teach young boys to connect in ways that's not at the cost of women's mental, emotional health and sexual safety.
Ruby Mitchell with that story from the New South Wales South Coast. And that's all from Australia Wide today. Don't forget, you can always podcast Australia Wide whenever you want, whether it be on your phone or in the car. So just go to the Listen app and subscribe. I'm Sinead Mangan. I hope you have a lovely evening. Cheerio.
My car, I wanna take you home. Jump in my car, it's too far.